Hello? I see what's happening here. Under. Stay. I don't hear anything, Eileen. Oh, I see you. Hi. For some reason, I can't hear you. Let me double check. Is your speaker maybe not working, or your microphone not working? Are your headphones plugged into your computer? Can you hear me? Hold on, let me see. Where did the message you just sent me go? You're still not making any noise. I'll let you know if I can hear you. Can you hear me? Oh, interesting. I have no idea. We're still waiting for Michelle anyways, so we'll see how that goes. I'll text Michelle while you work on that, Eileen. Hi.
Hey.
Hey. Can you chat yet, Eileen? You're on. You're great. You're great. Hold on. I see. Where are you? I don't know where your messages are going though. Sorry, I'm talking. Oh, there we go. Oh, okay. Okay. So Eileen's gonna try her other computer. Her laptop doesn't seem to be working, so she's gonna try to get back with us on that because we can see her and she can hear us, but we can't. Oh, I hear you. Somebody.
That was my dog barking.
Oh, that was your dog. Okay. And just FYI, I set this up on Days at Dunroven too, so some people are watching. We got 3 or 4 people watching. Just if you have anything that you want to hold for the end, I can stop the broadcast at the end, and we can, if for whatever reason. I do have to run and use the bathroom really quick while Eileen tries to work out her.
Okay, I'll let my dogs out so they're not barking the whole time.
Oh, I guess I had Oso in a sit stay up there. I forgot all about it.
Good boy, Oso.
Oh my gosh, I totally forgot I did it, and then I got distracted. That was a good 3 or 4 minutes, man. Good job.
What are you doing there?
I didn't even mean to do that.
Oh, funny.
Boy, what a good job. All right, I gotta use the restroom real quick. I'll be right back.
Me too. Come on, go outside.
I can't believe you were doing that whole time. That was crazy. I'm so sorry.
Oh, I bet you're upstairs. Sorry. Sorry, honey. Hey.
Do something cool. Go over. Yeah. Over. Oink. Are you there? Can you talk yet? No, it's still you're not. No. Did you switch computers?
Let me go out and find you.
Sorry?
I'm back.
Okay, we're still waiting for Eileen to. I don't know what's going on.
Okay.
Do you think it's your headphones?
I'll be right back.
No? Okay. Might be a bust. The chat keeps going away for me for some reason.
Any luck?
Oh, okay. She's just getting set up on her laptop. Never mind. So she's still trying to get it set up, I think.
Okay, good.
She just needs a moment.
All right.
I'm trying to watch the chat that keeps disappearing on me for some reason. How are you doing, Michelle?
I'm doing great. I'm doing really good.
Good.
Yeah.
Good to hear. Are you up in Alaska right now?
Oh, yeah.
Cool.
Yeah, I've been taking classes all week in equine body work, stretching, equine yoga, and craniosacral. So that's been really interesting. My brain is just about to explode.
I know how that feels. I'm good. I'm just doing all the work.
Yeah. How's your summer going?
Pretty good.
Can you guys hear me now?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Yes.
It's cool. We have two angles on you, too.
Yeah?
That's
Oh, shit. Hold on. You don't need me in...
Wait, don't cuss.
No, whenever I do...
Try not to cuss.
Yeah, right. Sorry.
Whoops. It's fine. I don't think anybody's going to jump on us.
Can you hear me now with my headset on?
Yeah.
Okay, perfect. Yeah, my desktop, for some reason, I don't know what's going on. But anyway. Hi,
It seems
Michelle.
like everything likes to break.
Yes, totally.
Well,
Hi, how are you?
Can I just start off real quick and say thank you guys for doing this and being willing to do it online where other people can watch and stuff. And hopefully I can make a video out of it. It won't be, this thing's not the best quality, and then that'll give us something to share with people who might be going through similar stuff. And then I'll just, because there are a few people watching, introduce you guys real quick. So I'm going to start with you, Eileen. This is Eileen. Hi.
Hi.
We're going to be working with her dog, Cash, who gets a little bit excited about stuff. Yeah, you could go on about that in a minute if you want to. And then this is Michelle, and Michelle's going to be helping us with some Zoopharmacognosy stuff, which probably some of you guys are familiar with. We're just going to be talking to each other. That's the only thing I want to do, like, for anybody watching, is just make sure they know who we are. So I'll just say real quick that I met Michelle through Days of Dunroven stuff when she came out for Zoopharmacognosy clinic. Thought it was really interesting. Did some stuff with Oso and with Canner. And then I've been working with Eileen for a while now with Cash, just on his anxiety and stuff in the truck, which is pretty high. And then some self-control issues in terms of demand barking. So that's pretty much it. Eileen, do you want to just introduce yourself and say a little bit about Cash? So
yeah.
Thank you.
Sure. So I'm Eileen, and I've probably been training with Mackenzie like 2+ years, I guess. Yeah, Cash is he's a 3.5-year-old blue heeler. Ran wild on a farm in Ovando for the first 6 months of his life, so I have no idea what his deal was. But great dog, but definitely, like Mackenzie said, lots of overexcitability stuff, and getting much better with age, but still, his baseline is pretty chill, but when he spikes, eyes rolling back in the head, drooling out of control, right? So his highs are really high, and I'd love to get to a place where we could manage those highs a little bit, ideally.
Yeah.
Cool.
Okay.
Well, I just thought we could spend a little bit of time, hopefully not too long. I don't know how long these usually go for you, Michelle, but my computer might die in about 30, 40 minutes. So that's how long I have. And just talk it over from your end about how you want to proceed, and then what we need to do on our end to get ready to do some work, and then we could set up another one and try and do some work together, maybe here at the training center or something.
That sounds great. Well, thanks, Eileen, for the opportunity to work with your dog, and I know that you're in really good hands working with Mackenzie, because I think he's a really amazing animal behaviorist and healer, and I think the combination of that work and this work, I think, could be real successful for you. I've read through your case study and the information that you sent me, and I have a couple questions for you. You said that he was vaccinated in June. Tell me about how you vaccinate, the schedule, what you vaccinate for, et cetera, et cetera.
He's just on whatever regular schedule the vet has him on, so yearly from the time I got him, which was when he was about 6 months old. He was due in July for his yearly shots, but I just switched vets. So he said, hey, he's due, let's go ahead and give him his yearly shots. And he gets whatever combination of vaccines he needs for a kenneled dog. So kennel cough, all that other stuff. But I'd have to get you the list to tell you exactly what, but I know it's like the standard vaccination for
kennel cough.
Yeah. Mackenzie, without taking the time here, I can take the time if you want, or are you familiar with titering and the issues around repeated vaccinations?
I mean, somewhat, but I'd love to hear what you have to say about it. Sure.
Okay.
I think it's important. Let's just try and knock into a little bit and see what we get.
Okay. So it may not seem like there's a correlation here, Eileen, and there may be, there may not be, but my sense when I read through your case study, I mean, bells and whistles went off in my head when I saw that vaccination note.
Interesting.
Traditionally, vets have recommended vaccination every year. Just mostly as it's a repeated thing that they can do every year. It was a number of years ago, the recommendation for annual vaccinations was pretty much accepted throughout the entire veterinary community. I have, I don't know if you've been reading or hearing anything. I would ask that you research vaccination protocol and side effects of vaccines. Okay. But when I was in England studying Zoopharmacognosy, I was really fortunate to be able to visit with a woman who knows a gentleman who is on the world panel for information about vaccine, how they determine protocol, what vaccines need to be given, to canines, felines, etc. And there really is no need for dogs to get really more than one vaccine when an initial vaccine.
What the rabies, sorry. I know with the rabies that usually like the first one does it and maybe a booster if they make it to like 10. Like, but it's a good way to make some cash if you're a vet is what I've read.
yeah, bingo. So in knowing that the frequency schedule was really not working for people and they're starting to see a lot of side effects with repeated vaccinations. I lost a dog to a vaccine reaction through his first, vaccine protocol. And if one really good resource that you will find is a holistic veterinarian. I don't know if you're familiar with her, but her name is Dr. Karen Becker.
Okay.
And she is online. She has you can either Google Dr. Karen Becker or you can look up Mercola Healthy Pets. That's spelled MERCOLA. And that is her online website. And she has literally a whole library of videos, articles, etc., on everything from feeding to how to make bone broth to dental issues to, I mean, just everything you could want to know. And I actually had heard initially from her about talking about kinds of food to feed and what's in dog foods, what's in kibble, what it does to the body, et cetera, et cetera. And also had learned from her initially about vaccine protocols for canines and felines, well, all animals, really, equines too. But the annual protocol of doing vaccines on dogs is basically, like Mackenzie said, a great way for the vets to get you in every year because you think you've got to come back, and an option that you might find a little more user friendly for your dog. There's something called titer tests, TITER test.
Okay.
You can Google that too, but okay. Basically. Once your dog, my mother-in-law, for example, gave her dog puppy shots, just like she's supposed to, and then she went back in, a year later and had a titer test done, and the requirement, and I forget which, for which vaccine, but the requirement was like, 75, the number, the level of antibodies, level of immunity in the body was supposed to be like 75, and the dog had like 1,700 or something, like wow. A year later. Right. So, and the only reason that I bring that up here is because some dogs are having some behavioral complications from it. They are having some behavioral issues. So, if you've been working with Mackenzie on lots of behavioral modification things and you're finding that just nothing works and he just kind of goes into this crazy thing, there were two things that came to mind was the vaccination frequency that he's on, and I don't know, does he ever show any aggressive tendencies or just behavior that you think is kind of strange, in a behavioral sense?
I mean,
other than
go ahead.
Intensity?
No, go ahead, Mackenzie. I'd love to hear what you have to say.
I mean, so one of the things that I think is unusual about him is that he's definitely he's a really frequent peer. To the point where I noticed that, but we've had him looked at for bladder infection, urinary tract infection stuff, and not found anything because I thought that was unusual. And then
he also.
Go ahead.
Just to throw in on the pee front, he also was on Proin for the leaky pee, incontinence, so at 2 years old, which is really rare, I guess, for a male puppy.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Or male young dog. So just to throw that in with a pee thing.
Yeah, and then I mean, behaviorally, otherwise, just it is hard for him to turn off, but that's a semi-common behavioral thing. To me, that's something that I see fairly regular. Just once he's amped, he has a really hard time coming down. But I think the other thing is we have done a lot of work, and usually by now I'm seeing much more progression, overall. But he has made a lot of strides, but it does seem like we're fighting something that's hard to put a finger on.
Yeah,
and
I wouldn't
be really bad early trauma, or it could. I mean, the vaccination thing is an interesting one I hadn't thought about at all.
Yeah.
And I would definitely support the titer test thing just because it isolates out. If nothing else. I mean, not I could see how the vaccinations on pets aren't really that incredibly well studied or tested because they're pets and there's not a lot of funding for it. So there's go ahead.
Yeah. Well, you will find a tremendous amount of research coming out now, and studies and case studies and information that's now coming out on vaccination. The doctors, people weren't reporting it because they weren't making the association.
Right.
Now we're starting to see behaviors coming up after vaccination that they just weren't making the association before, and now we're going, oh, wait a minute, this happened, after I vaccinated them the second time, or, in the last. So, I mean, just there's lots of information out there, Eileen, to research. And you could probably, if you went on Dr. Becker's website and looked up, vaccine frequency, or you'd probably just put vaccine in there, you'd come up with a whole bunch of articles, that can give you some information. The other thing that came to my mind,
like that's a really good way to know if their immunity levels are low on anything, and it's a good workaround.
Mm-hmm. I would research that a little. The other thing, Mackenzie, have you ever heard of something called rabies miasm?
No.
MIASM?
Mm-hmm.
And I think that, Eileen, that there's an article on Dr. Becker's in her library. I don't know if it's a video. It might just be an article. That came to my mind after reading through your, talking about Cash's behavior. But not seeing him, and when you talk about kind of the crazy, like, eyes turning over in the head, kind of thing. Look up rabies miasm. It's rabies and then MIASM.
Okay, got it. Yep.
See if you see anything in that maybe resonates with you. And Mackenzie, I want Mackenzie to look at it too, and see if there's something there that.
Yeah, I'll take a look at that.
And basically what that is, you guys, is they're finding, again, with repeated vaccines, repeatedly injecting this rabies vaccine year after year after year into dogs, that they're starting to see, again, the associations were never connected. They weren't able to connect the dots. Now they're starting to look at things and connect dots and go, this happened after, within 3 days or a month or within 2 months after a rabies injection. And what I would recommend, I know that there are municipal, county, whatever requirements for rabies vaccination, and I don't know if you can titer for rabies yet. You can titer for every other injection your dog gets. I'm not sure about rabies, especially since there are these municipal requirements.
Right.
But I would see about titers. I will tell you, Eileen, that titers are going to be a little bit expensive. But if you look at doing a titer once every 4 or 5 years compared to what you're paying for those injections every year, it really comes out in the wash. I mean, I know a woman in Arizona that actually produces these titer tests. I mean, they cost like $5, but the veterinarians are seeing that, well, I got to make up all this money that I'm losing on all these years of injections, so I gotta get the money.
They gotta cover their overhead, totally. I mean, that's the way it goes with a lot of medical stuff.
Yeah. But the new guidelines for, and this is just, it's totally arbitrary again, but they've changed from every year to every 3 years for all vaccinations. So this new vet that you're going to, you could mention that, thank God that you hadn't done it, already, but, and, it's really up to you anyway, whether or not you vaccinate your dog. The dogs that I have were vaccinated when I got them. I will never vaccinate them again.
Yeah, yeah.
As a matter of fact,
unfortunately, he was just vaccinated in June, like literally a couple weeks ago.
Well, and there's things that we can do to help his body process those chemicals that he now has in there. So we'll talk about that. So that's one thing that was kind of ding, ding, ding in my head.
Yep.
Okay, so you had said that you have, he does a lot of demand barking and demand, when he wants something that he's not getting. And I assume, Mackenzie, that you have worked on jumping that gun before all of that starts. You know, you see whatever, you know, before the trigger is introduced. Hang on, let my dogs out. Hey, Brett.
Interesting about the vaccination stuff.
Yeah, totally. I mean, it's worth a try. I don't think that skipping a year is really going to hurt any.
Sorry about that. I let the dogs out. My husband came home and let back in. Okay.
So demand blocking and then are you saying counter conditioning the trigger, or I wasn't quite with you there?
Well, you know there's triggers. I mean,
right.
And you pretty much, it seems like you've really identified really well what they are. So are you getting in front of the trigger and offering, you know, either a distraction or figured out, you know, have you worked on that end of things?
Well, so we've worked on like stimulus, more stimulus control for the presence of the trigger. So things like leave it training, and then also diminishing. You know, that would be like the work we did at the trailhead, Eileen, just like getting him kind of trying to build shorter behavior chains so that he's practicing relaxing a lot more in between any sort of thing that he could be demanding for. And then also trying to diminish the behavior by either building that self-control, like doing self-control training, or if the demand barking or something gets too high, going back and practicing building like relaxation and stuff. Yeah, so I don't know if that's what you're talking about, but does that sound close to what you're talking about, Michelle? Or
yeah, I think so, because I mean, you know how, you know, you see the acceleration. You have either a process or a trigger, you know, that you know is going to set them off. So you're kind of, I assume that you've done work with kind of staying one step ahead of him on those triggers being something that, you know, sets him off. The reason I ask is because the timing with triggers will be really important. We're going to start work with him with, you know, the extracts and plant things beforehand, before the triggers, but then we're going to introduce the trigger gradually, like a small trigger, not a big thing. Maybe like Eileen said, the car keys, or like getting your shoes out, Eileen, your running shoes or something. Right. That's one of them.
Yeah.
So that's one of the things. Now, if I were there, Mackenzie mentioned, well, how long will this take? We've got 30 or 40 minutes. But if I were there, what we would do is first work with him with some botanical extracts that that have generally been selected by animals for specific conditions. So, for example, one of the first things that we would do is, and this is what you'll have to do on your own. And Mackenzie, this is kind of like when we worked with Oso, how we kind of sat him down, got him quiet, you know, kind of settled in, if you remember that.
Yeah.
So what I would like to see, and if you can work with, I think it would be good, Mackenzie, since you've been through it and kind of seeing how we kind of bring them down slowly. We offer a couple things at a time so that they can select.
Yeah.
Now, I don't know if you've explained to Eileen kind of what zoopharmacognosy is and a little bit about what we're doing.
No, not really. That's what I was kind of hoping to do today, is just explain the whole process a bit, and then if there's whatever essential oils or anything else that you would need us to get, hopefully we could just make a list of those. And then I thought we'd do a follow-up where we actually get together, and I'll be with Eileen and Kat.
Okay, good.
And then you can talk us through the process, and we'll do our best, knowing that, you know, I've only done it once. So I'll do my best, but I think you coaching me, and based off of what we did last year, I think I'll be able to do it. Okay.
No, you've got such an innate way of working with animals. I mean, I thought you should be doing this from the get-go because I know you're really good at it. But so Eileen, This work has been developed by the woman who we came to Montana. She had been teaching there. I've been studying with her for about the past 3 years, and she has been working for over 30 years on trying to figure out how she started working with primarily essential oils and began her work with horses, and she went on to, she had some really traumatic things happen, like to her dog with a rattlesnake bite, and she tried, the vet sent the dog home and said, forget it, it's not responding to anti-venom, and she worked with it with oils, and the dog completely recovered. And then she kept working, developing this work by saying, well, what animals that may have specific conditions, she started noticing what they were selecting on their own. And by selection, we mean an animal is, is offered 2 or 3 different, say, oils, and they select a particular oil. And for these conditions, she just started really keeping notes and figuring out what animals were selecting. Well, fast forward 30 years, and she's developed this into a body of work that is just absolutely fantastic and is really making a difference for a lot of animals where, honestly, they were pretty much given up on.
I think what's really interesting to me is the self-selection process in it. I mean, that's what one of the things that's really attractive to me about it. The idea is that they can animals have an innate ability to heal themselves, but also that's backed up by sometimes certain flavors. I can see this in my own life, right? There are certain times where I really crave something, and I think, and tell me if I'm wrong here, Michelle, because I don't pretend to be an expert at all, but
no, it's fine.
They'll crave those things that they're missing dietarily, that might be able to help them process, and it makes a lot of sense to me, things that you need internally, chemically, probably smell better, taste better, or you'll have a pull for them. And I have seen, I've done a little bit, nothing too crazy, but just a little bit with some of the dogs at daycare and stuff, and definitely the ones who have had issues, I'll introduce chamomile or something, and some of them don't care about it, and some of them will just eat it ceaselessly, but really very few of them. It's not really, it doesn't have any nutritional value, but it tastes really good to some of the dogs over excitement issues or something like that is what it seems like to me, and they'll just wolf it. And that was the thing also when we brought him in there, he just ate 2 jars of coconut oil or something. It was insane. They thought that he was gonna throw up afterwards, and he never did that I recall. Maybe he did, I don't remember, it's been a little while, but yeah, I just thought that was funny. I just want to give you a heads up, my battery's died. I apologize, I just forgot my charger at home, so okay. I got probably another 5 or so minutes before my computer kicks out.
Okay. All right.
I'll probably keep chatting after that, but I won't be, I have no fixing it at this point.
Okay, no worries. Okay, so Eileen, so how I work and how I'm going to have you and Mackenzie work, it's obviously I'm not there to kind of see what those acceptance signals, what those selection signals are.
But we will try and set it up where we have a video so that you can be watching as best as possible. So that might help a little.
That would be great.
Yeah.
So, and there's a few requirements of it, and one of them is that we don't add any medicinal compounds to food, and the reason is that an animal will self-select what he needs and won't take anything else, and basically anything that's not a remedy to the body is a toxin. The other reason we don't add to food is because if they're hungry, they're going to eat it. But they may not need it, they may not want it, and we don't want them not eating food. The other one is that if it's in food, they cannot dose themselves, and they actually will dose themselves, just like Mackenzie mentioned with Oso, how he really needed a lot of something, and we would have maybe given him 1/4 of a cup where he needed 2 cups. And I have a lot of dogs take coconut oil up a cup to 2 cups and not ever throw up, or they they may purge something, but they won't. But they may not purge. You know, there may be something in their stomach that they needed to get out of, or get out of there.
Yeah, I deal with dogs throwing up all the time. It doesn't concern me at all. It seems pretty natural.
So it'll be important. The things that I would like to get together for offering for cash. The first thing is barley grass powder, and you can get barley grass powder probably at the health food store there. Try and get organic if you can, and okay. I would get maybe I don't know, half a cup, or a cup, just in a baggie, an amount.
Okay. Okay.
I'll stop taking notes on the chat and then making it make noise.
I got it. I'm writing it down.
Okay, great.
Cool.
Coconut oil. I would get here at Costco. You can get the big tub of coconut oil. And does Cash get coconut oil at all, or any essential fatty acids in his diet?
No, I just put a little olive oil over his food occasionally, but that's it.
Okay.
And he gets fish oil. He gets fish oil capsules in his food occasionally.
Okay. Okay, because essential fatty acids are a really high requirement of brain tissue. So a lot of dogs that have either anxiety or hyperactivity issues, we find a lot of times that they're not getting enough essential fatty acids.
Okay.
So I would get, if you can get some coconut oil, rice bran oil, which you should be able to get at the natural store there.
Okay.
We can start with those two. I always like to offer, with the oils, I like to offer 2 or 3. Is there something that, do you think there's any pain issues involved? Any reason that he might?
No,
okay.
Super strong, healthy, vibrant. No, I don't think there's any pain.
Yeah, I haven't really noticed anything either where he seems very sensitive, so I definitely back that up. Not that I've seen.
Okay, good. Well, sometimes they'll have scar tissue or adhesions after they've been neutered or spayed, and it's just, you never make the association, but there are times when they have internal issues where there's been scar tissue or an adhesion that catches them, just makes them feel nervous, because animals that are in pain are pretty anxious.
Yeah. Yeah, we might as well try for pain anyway, because it can't hurt to give him the option, and if he self-medicates for those things, then maybe he's just been masking it with overexcitement somehow,
Yeah, and so if that were the case, Mackenzie, Karen will have, if you could get the smallest bottle of arnica macerated oil that she has, because it's spendy, but the smallest bottle she has.
Arnica macerated oil?
Yeah, arnica and calendula oil. Calendula macerated oil. She'll know what you're talking about. And maybe if you could connect Eileen up with Karen. Do you have her contact information still?
I can get it, I think.
Okay. And you can tell her, Karen is Aromatics International, and she is the only person that sells botanical extracts and essential oils in the United States that I buy from. Her and maybe one other Eden Botanicals.
Can you pass her contact information on to me in an email or something, if you don't mind, Michelle? And I'll have it. That might save me some time anyway.
Michelle, how much of the coconut oil and rice bran oil should I get?
Well, I think you can get rice bran oil in the natural grocery store there. I forget the name of that store.
Good Food Store?
Yeah, the natural food store. The smallest size bottle, Eileen, it's probably going to be, I don't know, what is that, 4 ounces, maybe 6 ounces. If he doesn't take he may not take rice bran oil. Normally, when I'm there, I bring all my own stuff, and if he takes it and he really wants it, then I say go out and buy it. But otherwise I bring it, and then you don't have to buy all this stuff.
Yeah,
but
that's fine. That's fine. I'm not
Can I
worried
just cut
about
in
that.
real quick? So I really apologize for this. I didn't realize that this was going to suck up as much battery as it seems to be. But my computer's at like 2%, so I'm probably going to disappear. I hope the chat doesn't go away. I probably have like 3 or 4 more minutes before that. I hope that you guys can still keep talking if you need to, but I might. I'm so sorry.
Okay,
Bad
well,
planning,
let
too
me
long
finish
day.
the list. Let me finish the list for Eileen, and then Eileen, do you want my phone number? It looks like he just disappeared. No, he didn't disappear.
Yeah.
You want my phone number? And you can call me 907-242-2274. If we don't get through this, just call me and we can finish on the phone.
Perfect.
Okay, so the other thing, I noticed that you said you gave him valerian. I don't know what form that you gave him valerian in, but did you find that it was effective at all?
Yeah, so Mackenzie had brought me some of the, it looked like tea, right? And so I basically just steeped it like a tea, and then I poured the liquid over his food.
Okay.
And yes, I did notice, I felt like of all the things I've tried as far as, rescue remedy, herbal anxiety chill stuff, the valerian root seemed to actually take the edge off a little bit when I was consistently giving it to him over amount of time, but then I wasn't sure if I was supposed to be administering it in that way. But I feel like I noticed the highs are still high, but it just seemed to take the edge off a little bit.
Okay, so what I would get is there are 2 different plant extracts that work similarly. Some animals, there's valerian and there's vetiver. Some animals will select valerian, some will select vetiver. So if valerian, if you think the valerian, if you kind of feel like that was working with him, I would like you to get from Karen valerian essential oil.
Okay.
And then I would also like you to have you get hops essential oil.
Okay.
From her. These shouldn't be too expensive. It's going to cost, but it's cheaper than.
I spent so much money on training and everything else. It doesn't. Whatever I can do to help this little guy you feel better is fine with me.
And for him, if you'll probably need to use them, so you'll probably use a whole bottle. Who knows? You may end up getting another bottle, but so I'd like you to get from Karen, and I'd also like you to get Roman chamomile essential oil.
Okay.
There's 2 different chamomiles. There's Roman chamomile and there's German chamomile. German chamomile works a little bit differently. It's anti-inflammatory and antihistaminic. It does inhibit some like pain and agitation issues, but Roman chamomile is more for the kind of issues he has, kind of repetitive behaviors, anxiety, with repetitive behaviors and anxiety associated with something that may be going on in the body. He may have, because of the frequent and continued vaccinations, he may be having an inflammatory response in the body. So there may be something going on there. We can deal with that later, but right now I want to help him detox. So the other thing so the frequent peeing thing, it's really interesting because that really ties in with what happens, when they get this huge amount of chemicals and stuff in their bodies from the vaccine that they may be. I don't know if your vet has vaccines with thimerosal in them or not, but one of the things that the body is, when it's peeing, is it's trying to get rid of stuff. It's detoxing. So he obviously is, his body is detoxing in a big time way, which is why he's peeing so much. And he may also, because of the frequent urination, that may be causing some bladder, or there may be something going on with his liver. So the barley grass will help with that. And also, I'd like to have you get at the natural food store some spirulina.
Mm-hmm.
Spirulina is, we put it in our shakes. I mean, I'm sure you've heard of it. You can buy it probably in a jar, but I would buy it bulk. That's the cheapest. And just buy, a little, I don't know, a baggie full, this much in the bottom of a baggie. They probably charge like $40 a pound for it, but you're buying like a 0.68 of an ounce or something. So it's not that big a deal. And if he doesn't eat it, I think he will. These are things that you're going to continue to offer him even after our work. And if he doesn't eat it, put it in your smoothies. It's the most complete protein on your planet, in the planet.
Sure. Good.
You'll be healthy. He'll be healthy. The world will.
Yay. Perfect. So, Michelle, did you want me to get barley? Oh, you did say barley grass. That's on my list, right? Yep.
Yeah. Barley grass powder. Yeah.
Yep. Got it.
And of course, anything that I say that to get, if you can get it organic, that's better. And you should, but if all you can get is spirulina that doesn't even say if it's organic or not, just get it.
Okay.
So that's the list that I had for you. There's another essential oil called neroli. I go back and forth between England and the U.S. So some things I say in the English way, and so some things I say in the American way. But neroli or neroli is.
Okay, how do you spell it?
Neroli.
Okay.
How is his skin?